Ladies and gentlemen, tonight on Playback TV, we're going to go through Jalen McDaniels' clips, film from last night, and talk about his fit on the Sixers and what we think and what we can expect. And we're going to have the conversation, and you can come up on the stage and talk. We're going to watch Paul Reed's recent film of the last couple of games because Montrezl Harrell has been shunned, which he should be, and talk about what we think and whether or not we dread Dwayne Dedman being active under the control of Doc Rivers. That's tonight on playback.tv/runitbackphilly, 9 p.m. Be there. Let's get into this, man. Last night, Sixers beat the Rockets. It's the Rockets. Nobody cares. I'm glad they didn't go down to the wire with a bad team. They took care of business. They put the game away. And, it is what it is. There's some things I liked about Jalen McDaniels. There's some things I liked about Paul Reed. You knew what you're getting from Embiid and Harden and everybody against a team like that. Şengün was trying to guard Embiid one-on-one. You know what it is. I watched it because we like watching ball. We had a good time in the playback TV room watching it. So it was a fun time, but it's not like you can really assess anything from that Rockets game. The bigger storyline last night was that the Sixers' recent player traded, Matisse Thybulle, played his first game for the Portland Trailblazers. Stop! Get out of here! Go! What is wrong with you? Played his first game for the Portland Trailblazers, and he had a better game than he's had for the Sixers in 3 years. Matisse Thybulle was 5 for 9 from the field. He had 14 points. He was 4 for 6 from three-point range. Yes, he had 4 three-pointers. Matisse Thybulle, the 0 and D player, the player who is an elite defender but can't play offense, the player that, at least for us, it looked like 4-on-5 in the playoffs. He had 4 three-pointers last night for the Portland Trailblazers, and he's only done that one time in his career for the Sixers, and it was his rookie season when he had 5 three-pointers. So it starts to bring up the question, and I know the answer to the question. But, this whole, players come from other teams and come into Doc Rivers' system and perform worse. Players leave Doc Rivers' system and perform better. Isaiah Joe last night had 16 points off the bench and had a game-winning attempt, which, I'm proud of him because he is literally OKC's go-to scorer in a three-point game. Doc wouldn't put him on the floor. Matisse Thybulle, the things that we saw in the playoffs, the things that we saw all the time that just made him look unplayable, or like, oh my God, this guy just can't play offense, and he's bad at basketball and all of these things. It's starting to, and I know it's just one game for the Blazers. It's one game. Maybe his lack of basketball IQ and skill will come out over the course of the next couple of games. But it starts to just make you wonder, are these players really good and we're just being put in the wrong situations and not being fed the right confidence, comfortability, and straight up minutes on the floor under Doc Rivers? And that's the answer. That's the answer. So let's just listen to a clip of Matisse Thybulle after last night's post-game press conference and give our thoughts on that. Here's Matisse Thybulle after his 4 three-pointers for the Portland Trailblazers in a win against the Los Angeles Lakers.
Yeah, it felt really good. I felt, first thing was just I felt comfortable. And I didn't realize how much you can take that for granted. So just to be out there and feel comfortable, and like you said, to feel and know that I'm wanted and needed, and this coaching staff, the players have my back. I think it showed in just my ability to play and be more of myself, I think.
So I felt comfortable. The coaching staff had my back, and it allowed me to be myself, which results in better play. And that's on the money. And I just want to say basically, here's what it is. The pressure that Doc Rivers puts on young players to be perfect is anti-development. The pressure that Doc Rivers puts on young players to perform up to his standard, to perform perfectly, is anti-development. Doc Rivers has been known his entire career as an anti-development guy, as a lack of development, inability to develop young talent. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Terrence Mann, you can go down the list. Isaiah Joe, now Matisse Thybulle. You can go down the list. If Ben Simmons never quit on us, would Tyrese Maxey have ever gotten the chance at point guard? You can go down the list with Doc Rivers. He is anti-development. He doesn't put players on the floor to try to develop them. There's probably 3 levels of development. Practice, the system, what they're doing in practice, everybody that's working with that player on certain skills, repetition at practice. Everybody always says, all players that have played for Doc Rivers always, make comments about how easy his practices are. Practice, number 1. Number 2, giving the player the amount of minutes they need to find themselves on the court, to find their game, to play through their weaknesses, to play through their mistakes. Straight up giving a young player time on the floor. I just thought off the top of my head right now, maybe Jaden Springer's a good NBA player. We won't even know. This guy can't sniff the floor. Doc would rather put Daniel House Jr. in the last minute of a blowout than Jaden Springer. So number 2 is just giving them minutes. Number 3 is what Matisse Thybulle just said. Being comfortable. The pressure Doc Rivers puts on young players to be perfect is anti-development. And it's really mind-boggling that somebody who's been around the game as long as Doc Rivers doesn't understand that. I feel like everybody in the world that knows the game of basketball or really any sport knows that what you need to do with young players is boost their confidence, get them out of their own way, get them out of their own mind, release their anxieties that they have when they're on the floor, let them play a free-flowing game. And how you do that is by reminding them, hey, go out there and play your game. Make mistakes. Just give effort. Play through the mistakes. Play your game. Let them know there's no pressure to be perfect. Doc Rivers on the other side, you can go back to what he told Tyrese Maxey when he was in his second year here. He straight up told Tyrese Maxey, every shot you take is a shot. He said, I told Tyrese that when I was coaching Rondo, I told Rondo, every shot you take is a shot that Paul could have, is a shot that Kevin could have, is a shot that Ray could have. Doc Rivers literally told young Tyrese Maxey to second guess himself when he has an open shot. That is anti-development. I think Maxey is a warrior and developed himself, but that is not what you should be saying to a young player, getting him in his own mind, making him second guess all of his decisions. And I think when James Harden got here, Tyrese Maxey's game went to a new level because I think on the court, James Harden was in his mind saying, shoot your shot. Remember those games when James Harden first got here before he played? He was in Tyrese Maxey's ear. He was jumping off the bench, taking his mask off, yelling at him. That's what you do. That's what you do. James Harden probably developed Tyrese Maxey more than Doc Rivers did. So making a player comfortable, a young player comfortable, is probably the biggest key to development than anything else we talked about. Doc Rivers is anti-development. You're seeing it with Isaiah Joe. You just saw it last night with Matisse Thybulle. He looked confident. He looked sure of himself. He looked free-flowing. He looked like there was no pressure on him to be perfect. And the ball goes in when that happens. I played ball my whole life, and when I was young, I used to play with older players, right? When I was like 15, I used to play with dudes 20, 30 years old, I used to get on the court because I was a little three-point shooter, right? And there was times where there was this dude that just didn't want me to shoot the ball, that it had to be a perfect shot every time. You know what I mean? Slow it down. We could move the ball. You know what I mean? Always in your head, and that wrecks your confidence, and you start bricking shots. And then sometimes I would have this dude who I went to school with, who was a couple years older than me, that was a starter on the varsity team, and he would just get in my ear and say, "Keep shooting. Shooters shoot. You got this. Keep shooting. Shooters shoot." And I always performed better when I was on the court with that dude than the dude telling me to second guess myself. That's just the point I'm making. I think Doc Rivers is anti-development. I think it's clear as day now. And I am just so proud of Matisse Thybulle and happy for him that he got away from this old dinosaur. And I hope he goes on to have a wonderful NBA career, and Isaiah Joe also. Now this. Should we have traded Matisse Thybulle? Here's why I wanted to trade Matisse Thybulle. People think that I think Matisse Thybulle sucked. Well, you wanted to trade him. You're the one that wanted to trade him. I wanted to trade Matisse Thybulle because I want the Sixers to be better under the coach that we know is not going anywhere. To do that, you have to give up value. Matisse Thybulle was the only player at the trade deadline that had any value. We had to trade him because Doc Rivers was not going to play him and develop him, and we need pieces right now to try to win, so we had to trade Matisse Thybulle. That's not me saying I think Matisse Thybulle sucks. It's frustrating that he went to Portland, immediately was in the starting lineup. This guy was like off the deep bench. The first couple months of this season, Doc didn't even put him on the floor. He was off the deep bench the whole year for like 8 minutes a game when he played him. He goes to Portland and he's a starter automatically and hits 4 threes, helping the Portland Trailblazers set a franchise record for three-pointers made in a game. They had 11 threes at halftime. No, they had 11 threes in the first quarter. But yeah, I thought we had to trade Matisse Thybulle because Doc wasn't going to play him, and we had to get a player in return who has more of a complete game and can just fit and play basketball. And I think Jalen McDaniels is a better fit on this Sixers team right now than Matisse Thybulle was. Matisse Thybulle needs the right players around him. He needs development. He needs patience, and you're not getting that under Doc Rivers. Jalen McDaniels is a better fit. He's more of a complete all-around player who you can just plug in basically any lineup, tell him to go ball. He's going to run, dunk, shoot, take the ball to the hoop, finish in contact. So I still like the trade. I'm just proud of Matisse Thybulle. But as far as Jalen McDaniels, I love what he's doing so far. Last night he looked great again off the bench. Solid minutes. Just finally a player with size and athleticism who can play basketball. That's something the Sixers have lacked for a long time, is just a 6'10" player who has multiple skills on a basketball floor. Like the Toronto Raptors have 7 of them. The Orlando Magic have 9 of them. You know, and we were out here with George Niang, Montrezl Harrell, Shake Milton, blah, 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 blah. When are we going to get some of these NBA players? And I think Jalen McDaniels is that. So I'm happy about Jalen McDaniels. Paul Reed, again, gets all of the backup center minutes last night. And I'm nervous about this Dwayne Dedmon signing because last year, Paul Reed got all of the backup center minutes in the Toronto Raptors series, and we won the series, and we went into the Miami Heat series, and if Joel Embiid didn't have a broken face and a dislocated thumb, we'd probably win that series too with Paul Reed playing all of the backup center minutes. You just need an athlete who can rebound and play hard. It doesn't have to be a superstar center. It doesn't have to be Joel Embiid 2.0. He can defend the rim. He's a steal merchant. He's a high-energy guy. Go. So I'm nervous about the Dwayne Dedmon thing because I think you can win with Paul Reed being your backup center. And Paul Reed and Jalen McDaniels on the floor together, that was creating havoc for the Houston Rockets last night. Jalen McDaniels, DeAnthony Melton, and Paul Reed on the floor together, creating havoc, getting fingers on basketballs left and right, diving on the floor, running the fast break. I saw more energy and fast break action last night than I've seen the whole season, maybe the last 2 seasons for the Sixers. We finally had athletic defenders who can also play offense on the floor at the same time, and it was beautiful. Sadly, I don't have confidence that that's going to last. I think Doc is going to play Dwayne Dedmon, and I think we're in big trouble when he does. Sorry for being negative. But anyway, tonight on Playback TV at 9 p.m., we are going to talk about all of these things. We're going to watch Matisse Thybulle's highlights from last night because we're proud of him. We love him. He's one of ours. We're going to watch Jalen McDaniels' film from last night, talk about how he fits on the Sixers team. We're gonna watch Paul Reed's film from the last couple games and talk about the backup center position. And we're going to watch Dwayne Dedmon's recent film from Miami and talk about whether or not this is a horrible, horrible, horrible idea. Hey! Y'all have yourselves a wonderful day, man. Hit the like button, subscribe, all that stuff. Run it back, Philly. No frauds, no fanboys, no intros. I don't know what else. I was going to say something else at the end. I forget. I need more coffee. Have a wonderful day, man. It's Valentine's Day. Go buy your girlfriend some chocolate or something. Peace.